I shouldn't have gone back inside, but something about the way she said my name made it impossible not to. "Hey, you forgot your charger," she called after me, her voice softer than usual. I turned, and there she was, standing in the hallway with bare feet, holding it out like a peace offering. Or maybe like bait. I couldn't tell. Her name's Elena. She's my best friend Liam's mom, 46, maybe 47, I never asked, but she doesn't look it. Not in the lazy, airbrushed way. She's real. Her eyes crease when she laughs, and her hips move like she knows exactly how you're watching. I never meant to see her that way. But once I did, I couldn't stop. Liam had left hours ago, rushing off to meet someone from Tinder. I'd stayed back to finish a project for class, thinking it'd just be a quiet evening at their place. It almost was. Now it was just me and her, and the soft sound of a jazz record spinning in the other room. She didn't hand me the charger right away. Instead, she leaned against the hallway wall, arms crossed, not cold, just hesitant. The kind of pause that makes you wonder if the air's too thick or if your heart's just gotten louder. "You always stay late," she said. I shrugged. "It's quieter here. Calmer." Her gaze flicked over me, slowly, thoughtfully, like she was trying to see something she hadn't before. Then she looked away and smiled, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "You say that like it's a good thing." "It is," I said, maybe too fast. Silence stretched between us. Not uncomfortable, just sharp-edged. I took a step closer without thinking. "Elena, I should go. You can call me Lena," she said quickly, eyes not quite meeting mine. "I mean, if you want." I froze. Lena. No one else called her that. Not Liam. Not anyone I'd heard. It felt private. Like she'd handed me a key I hadn't earned. I nodded slowly. "Okay. Lena." She looked up then. Fully. No hiding. And in that second, I knew something shifted between us, like the ground didn't move, but something inside both of us did. Her lips parted just slightly, like she was about to say something else, but then she stopped herself. Swallowed. Looked down at her bare feet like they might help her decide. "I shouldn't say this," she whispered. I leaned in, not because I expected anything, but because I needed to hear whatever came next. Her voice had dropped too low, too careful. My pulse hammered. "But I want you." There it was. No thunder. No music swell. Just 5 quiet words dropped between us like a lit match. She didn't look at me after she said it. Just turned and started walking toward the kitchen, slow and steady like she hadn't just undone me completely. I stood there, charger still in my hand, breath caught somewhere in my throat. Want me? She wanted me? Before I could follow her, or say anything at all, the doorbell rang. Once. Then again. Loud. Impatient. She stopped in the doorway. Her back stiffened. Neither of us moved. And just like that, the night split in two, what had almost happened, and what was about to. She didn't answer the door right away. We both stood still, me halfway toward the hallway, her frozen in the kitchen entry like the knock had knocked something loose in her. Then, quietly, she said, "It's probably just a package," and disappeared into the shadows. I should have walked out then. Taken the charger and left like none of this happened. Like her words hadn't landed in the middle of my chest and stayed there, pulsing. But I didn't. I sank into the armrest of the couch and stared at the dark television screen, my own reflection blinking back at me. I looked different somehow. Wired. Lit from inside. She came back a minute later, holding a brown box she didn't look at. She set it on the counter without a word. We both avoided eye contact. "Is Liam staying out tonight?" I asked, just to say something. She nodded. Probably. He does that a lot now. Thinks I don't notice. Her voice had a weariness I hadn't heard before. Like someone who got used to being alone, then resented it. He mentioned your husband once, I said gently. Ex-husband, she corrected. He left a few years ago. Too many dinners with other women, not enough with me. I didn't say anything, not out of awkwardness, but because she didn't need me to. Her voice was steady, but her fingers were fidgeting with the hem of her sleeve. She was talking more to herself than to me. After he left, she said, I got good at pretending I wasn't lonely. Work. Groceries. Wine nights with the neighbors. All the usual tricks. My throat tightened. I hadn't known any of that. She always carried herself like someone untouched by time, poised, calm, untouchable. Now I saw something else. A softness behind the control. A fracture she'd taught herself to cover. I wanted to reach for her. But I didn't move. And you? She asked, quieter now. Any ghosts? I gave a half-smile. Had a girlfriend last year. It ended when I started pulling away and didn't know how to explain why. She looked at me, something unspoken settling between us. I think I was waiting for something else, I added. Someone else. It just came out. I didn't plan to say it. But she didn't flinch. Instead, she stepped closer, slow, careful. She wasn't touching me yet, but the space between us felt warmer, like it had its own pulse. Her eyes searched mine, like she was still trying to convince herself this was real. Then, quietly, she said, You're Liam's friend. You're young. This shouldn't happen. I swallowed. I know. But neither of us stepped back. She reached out then, not a kiss, not even a full embrace. Just her hand brushing my knuckles with the back of her fingers. It was the smallest thing. But it felt like a door opening. Her fingers barely touched mine, but the moment stretched like we'd both forgotten how to breathe. She didn't pull away. Neither did I. Then came the sound of keys jingling at the front door. We jerked apart instantly. Shit, she whispered, stepping back just as the door creaked open. Liam walked in with his hoodie half-zipped and earbuds dangling from his neck. Yo, he said, dropping his bag to the floor. Didn't think you'd still be here. I stood up fast, almost knocking over the charger I'd placed on the table. Yeah, I was just leaving. Lena's face was unreadable. Calm, composed. Like she hadn't whispered something that still rang in my ears. But her arms were crossed tight across her chest, and she wouldn't look at either of us. Cool, Liam said, heading toward the kitchen. You two hanging out or something? No, she answered quickly. Too quickly. He forgot his charger. That's all. The silence after was brutal. I tried to act normal, but my mind was spiraling. Did Liam notice the shift in the air? Could he hear the leftover tension in our voices? He cracked open the fridge, pulled out a soda, and gave me a lazy nod. You good, man? Yeah. Just tired. But when I turned to leave, Lena finally looked at me. It was just a second, but everything was in that look. The panic. The want. The regret. And something else. Like she was asking me not to hate her for this. I didn't. I went home and lay in bed for hours, staring at the ceiling like it had answers. I kept replaying the feel of her hand, the way her voice shook when she said she wanted me. And the way she vanished behind her walls the second someone else walked in. The next afternoon, I got a text from her. Just 5 words. Don't come over. Not safe. No explanation. No follow-up. I waited a day. Then 2. Then I couldn't take it anymore. I went back to their house under the excuse of picking up a book I'd left. Liam wasn't home. The living room was dark, except for the gold spill of kitchen light. She was sitting at the table, a glass of untouched wine in front of her. She didn't look surprised to see me. Just tired. "I told you not to come," she said softly. "I had to." She stood slowly, walked to the sink, then turned back, her arms braced behind her like she needed something to hold her upright. "I'm not good at this," she said. "At pretending. At controlling things I don't want to control." Her voice cracked a little, just barely. I stepped closer. "Then don't," I said. She looked at me for a long time, her eyes tired, unsure, but alive in a way I hadn't seen before. Then she took one step forward. We were inches apart. Her breath trembled. And just before our lips met, she turned her face away. Not ready. But closer than ever. She didn't speak for a long time. We stood in the kitchen, barely breathing, barely blinking, like the wrong word would shatter everything we'd both been holding back. "I keep thinking about that night," I finally said. My voice sounded strange, raw, quieter than I expected. "You said you wanted me. And then you vanished." She didn't deny it. Instead, she wrapped her arms around herself and leaned back against the counter, staring somewhere just past me. "I meant it," she whispered. "But it scared me." "Why?" She looked up. "Because I haven't wanted someone in a long time. And wanting you, it feels like breaking something that can't be fixed." "You're not breaking anything," I said. I'm your best friend's mom," she snapped, louder now. "I'm twice your age. People would laugh. Or judge. Or worse. I don't care what people think." "Well, I do," she shot back. Then softer. "At least, I pretend I do." I took a step closer. Then another. Until we were face to face and she couldn't look away. "You pretend a lot of things, don't you?" I asked. Her breath caught. "Like you're not lonely. Like you don't watch me when I'm not looking. Like that night didn't mean something to you." She clenched her jaw, but her eyes glistened. "Stop," she said. "Please." But I didn't. "I haven't stopped thinking about you since you touched my hand," I said. "And I know you haven't either." Her silence told me everything. Then, a sudden knock on the front door. We both froze. Again. But this time, she didn't move. "Are you expecting anyone?" I asked. She shook her head slowly. A voice called through the door. "Lena? It's Mark. You in there?" Her face went pale. "My ex." Another knock. "Lena?" I watched her eyes darken, not with fear, but anger. Frustration. Like even the universe was trying to pull her back into the life she swore she'd escaped. She walked toward the door, then stopped halfway. "I can't keep doing this," she said without turning. "I can't keep pretending I don't want this and then acting like I never said it." I swallowed hard. Then stopped pretending. She turned to face me again. "He was never good to me," she said, voice low. "But I let him come and go for years. Because it was easier than being alone. You're not alone now." "No," she said, barely a whisper. "And that terrifies me more." She looked at me, really looked. No shields. No sarcasm. Just naked, vulnerable want. Then, in one sudden, reckless move, she stepped forward, grabbed my wrist, and pulled me into her. Our lips almost touched. Breath against breath. And then, the door flung open. The door slammed against the wall. Mark stood there, tall, still dressed in the smug confidence of a man who thought he owned every room he walked into. His eyes moved from me to Lena, to how close we were, her hand still gripping my wrist. Then he laughed. "Well, this is rich," he said, stepping inside like he still had the right. Lena let go of me instantly. Her body snapped rigid, her voice flat. "What are you doing here, Mark?" He walked in uninvited, glancing around like he was still memorizing the layout of a house that hadn't belonged to him in years. "Liam texted me," he said. "Said he was worried. Thought you were acting strange." My stomach dropped. Liam. He knew. Or at least, he suspected enough to go looking for backup. Mark turned to me now, smiling, not kindly. "You're the kid, huh? Liam's little buddy." I didn't say anything. My fists clenched behind my back. He turned back to Lena, voice laced with bitter amusement. "You always said you didn't want anything casual. Guess you meant unless he's half my age." Her face went blank. That cold, practiced mask she must have worn through years of this same venom. "You don't get to comment on my life anymore," she said. He raised an eyebrow. "Oh, so this is your life now? A secret fling with your son's best friend?" I stepped forward. "That's enough." Mark's eyes flared. "You think this is about you? It's not. It's about her. And how she keeps blowing up her own life the second she starts feeling something real." Lena flinched. I noticed it even if she tried to hide it. But then something shifted in her. Her shoulders dropped. Her hands loosened at her sides. She didn't deny anything. She just said quietly, "Get out of my house." Mark laughed again. "You'll regret this. You always do." Then he left. No slamming. No threats. Just silence in his wake, the kind that hums in your chest like static. I turned to her, but she was already walking to the sink, gripping the edge so hard her knuckles went white. "I didn't know Liam texted him," I said. "I swear." She nodded, but her eyes didn't meet mine. "It's not your fault." Still, something was different now. "I shouldn't have dragged you into this," she said. "You're young. You don't need this mess." "I don't care." "You should." I hesitated. "Do you want me to go?" She didn't answer right away. Then finally, with a voice that cracked on the edge of something broken, she said, "I don't know what I want anymore." Her back was to me. So she didn't see me clench my jaw. Didn't see the way I stood there, torn between leaving and fighting. Didn't hear the words I almost said. And didn't stop me when I walked out the door. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes I saw her, standing at the sink, trembling, saying she didn't know what she wanted anymore. And the worst part? I believed her. But I also knew she'd never been given permission to want anything for herself. Not really. Not with men like Mark, and not in a world that labels a woman like her reckless just for needing closeness. By morning, I'd made a decision. I went back. I wasn't sure if the door would open. But it did, slowly. She was in the same robe from the night before, her hair pulled back, no makeup. She looked tired. And beautiful in a way that hurt to look at. She didn't say anything at first. Just stared at me like I was a storm she hoped wouldn't reach the house again. "I shouldn't have left," I said. "But I didn't know how to stay without making it worse." She leaned against the doorframe. "You didn't make it worse." "I did." I shook my head. "No. You told the truth. That's what made it dangerous." Her eyes flicked up to meet mine. Red, rimmed with doubt. "You're 24, she said. "You still have time to fall for someone who doesn't come with all this weight." "I don't want someone else," I said. "I want the woman who told me she wanted me, even when it terrified her." That cracked something in her. She stepped back, covering her mouth like the words were too much. "Don't say that unless you mean it," she said, voice trembling. "Because I'm not a chapter. I'm the whole damn book. With torn pages and bad endings." I walked in, slow and steady. I didn't reach for her. Just stood close enough that she could feel how serious I was. "Then let me read every page," I said. Her eyes filled. She looked away. "I'm scared," she whispered. "So am I." A long silence fell between us. Nothing fancy. Just breathing and doubt, and something deeper we still couldn't name. Then she said it, barely audible, but everything I needed to hear. "I don't want to be afraid anymore." So I reached out. Not for her waist. Not for her lips. Just her hand. She let me hold it. And in that small, quiet moment, everything shifted. Not because we kissed, we didn't. Not because we ran away together, we wouldn't. But because for the first time, we stood in the same truth. I didn't know what came next. If Liam would find out. If people would talk. If we'd fall apart under the weight of it all. But I knew I'd stand beside her, not behind, not above. Beside. And for now, that was enough. It's been 2 weeks since that morning. Since she let me hold her hand in the quiet, with the world still asleep and everything uncertain but finally honest. Lena didn't try to take it back. She didn't pretend it didn't happen. But she didn't rush into anything either. No dramatic declarations. No sudden plans. Just a slow return to herself. We've seen each other a few times since. Once in the grocery store, her in workout clothes, laughing at something I said like we were normal. Like this thing between us wasn't still quietly catching fire in the space between every sentence. Once again, late at night, when she texted me just 4 words. "Can you come over?" I went. We didn't sleep together that night. We didn't even kiss. She opened a bottle of red, handed me a glass, and we sat on the floor of her living room, knees touching, talking about nothing. But I'll never forget the way she looked at me, like she was allowing herself to feel wanted without apology. That was the real shift. It wasn't about me being younger, or her being older. It was about finally choosing something, someone, without shame dragging it back down. Liam hasn't said anything yet. I think he suspects something, maybe even knows. But I also think he's watching her, quietly, and realizing she's lighter now. Softer around the edges. And maybe that matters more than where I fit in the picture. The world didn't fall apart. No one set fire to our story. No one gave us permission either, but that's the thing about real love. It doesn't wait for it. One night she asked me, "Do you think this can last?" I didn't lie. "I don't know," I said. "But I know I'm here. And I know I'm not afraid of who you are." She exhaled like that was the first time anyone had ever said that to her. I still think about the beginning, about the first time she said she shouldn't say it, but did anyway. About the look in her eyes right after. About how sometimes, love isn't about rushing in. Sometimes it's about staying, gently, when the other person is already halfway out the door. I stayed. She let me. We're figuring it out, day by day, moment by moment. Quietly, imperfectly, honestly. And in a world full of noise and conditions and masks, maybe that's the bravest kind of love there is. Did you enjoy the story? What kind of stories would you like to hear next? Let me know in the comments. Your ideas might just inspire the next one.